In America, you have so many opportunities. You have so much freedom, and you can practically or virtually do whatever you wanted. But America has one glaring problem, and that would be depression. America's culture really likes to cultivate depression in many ways, such as having unhealthy sleep schedules, encouraging early bird culture, giving people a lack of purpose, free dopamine, and social media. The first thing that we're going to be talking about is sleep schedules or early bird culture. The thing about sleep schedules and early bird culture is that most people don't understand that your body has a natural circadian rhythm, which generally follows the rise and fall of the sun. Your circadian rhythm makes you feel tired when you should be asleep and makes you feel awake when you should be awake. But your circadian rhythm is different for every single person. Generally, people's circadian rhythm falls into one of two categories, which we will be calling sleep chronotypes. The sleep chronotypes are early bird and night owls. As the name implies, early birds' circadian rhythm falls wake up early, go to bed early, and night owls go to bed late and wake up late. It's crucial to understand when your sleep chronotype is and to sleep inside of it, because if you don't, your risk of depression is significantly higher and you're more susceptible to obesity. Sleeping outside of your sleep chronotype is one of the most unhealthy things you could do. You'll be overall a less productive person, and your mental health will plummet, and your life will overall just be worse. But your sleep chronotype also changes as you get older. For example, an infant to about a teenager will have teenager years will have a early bird sleep chronotype, so they'll wake up early and go to bed early. But a teenager to around 35-ish years old will have a night owl sleep chronotype and go to bed late and wake up late. And then from 40 and up, you're most likely to have an early bird sleep chronotype. Now, of course, that's normal for about 70% of the population. It changes depending on who you are. But for a basic person, that's how it would work. Now, you may be thinking, okay, so what's the problem? Why don't I just sleep within my sleep chronotype and be healthy? The problem with that is early bird culture. The country is run by people in their 40s and up, meaning they say when school starts, they say when everything starts, they set up all the events, and they say what takes place at what times. So if you're a teenager and you have to get to school at 7 a.m., but your body says, no, we should sleep from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m., you're forcing your body to do what's unhealthy for it and doing the exact opposite of what your body is telling you to do, making you a less productive person and making your life overall worse. The second thing we'll be talking about today is lack of purpose and freedom. In today's day, you can practically learn any skill you wanted, or pick up a hobby just like that from doing some research and putting some practice in. It's the easiest time to learn, but also one of the hardest times to learn, because of something called free dopamine. Well, before we talk about free dopamine, we need to know what dopamine is. What dopamine is, it's a chemical your brain releases whenever you do something worthwhile or satisfactory. And dopamine brings feelings of also pleasure and satisfaction. The problem with free dopamine, or some examples of it, would be fast food, sugar, social media, or short-form content. Short-form content's the big one, but here's an example of why it would be bad. If without any short-form content or any free dopamine, you spend your day learning how to make a new type of bread, or you learn how to make bread, and you're super proud of yourself, your brain will release dopamine that will be satisfactory, and you will have this sense of productivity or productiveness that you've just had. You'll be proud of yourself. Opposed to spending your day scrolling on your phone all day or eating a bunch of sugars, your brain won't have a sense of... It'll still release the dopamine, you still have a dopamine high, but you won't have this sense of productivity, and you'll look back on your day and say, this was not a productive day. And that behavior can very quickly lead into depression very easily and destroys your mental health. And it can lead to a sense of meaninglessness or purposelessness. The last thing that we'll be talking about is how to actually fix these problems. Now, the first thing that we talked about is sleeping and early bird culture and sleep schedules. Now, while we can't fix when school starts and when certain activities start, if you already have an unhealthy sleep schedule, that is something you can fix. The first thing you need to know when building a sleep schedule is that it's not just about getting 8 hours of sleep. It's also about 3 other things. There's actually 4 pillars of sleep. There's duration, which would be getting your 8 hours of sleep. There's regularity, which is sleeping at the same time every single day. So, for example, if you slept from 12 to 8 one day and then 11 to 9 the other day, that would not be healthy. And we'll go into why in a second. But the other 2 are continuity. You need to stay asleep the whole time, not wake up, sleep 5 hours, wake up for 30 minutes, then go back to bed and sleep for another 4 hours. But you need to stay asleep for the whole time. And last but not least would be sleep depth and quality. That's if there's any noises, loud noises, or any lights, like flashing lights in your room, you would need to get rid of those because they do affect how much you benefit from your sleep. Now, like I was saying, I said I'd get back to it. Sleep regularity. Whenever, we'll say if you read a book every single time before you went to bed, while you're reading that book, your brain would go, okay, we're reading this book, it's time for us to activate the parasympathetic cycle, which will start generating melatonin, and your brain will much more easily go to bed. So you need to build an evening routine to be able to do that, though. A good evening routine starts about an hour before you go to bed. It should start with you showering and doing all of your bathroom necessities. And then from after you're done with that to when you plan on going to bed, doing something calming and relaxing that's not mentally stimulating. Like reading a book, maybe, or playing an instrument, something along those lines, not doing advanced algebra, complex problems, you know what I mean. You just need to do something, and then if you do that every single night, when you start your evening routine, your brain will go, okay, it's time for us to go to bed, and when it's actually time for you to go to bed, you will hit the bed and you'll go to bed instantly. Now, it may not seem super important, but you spend 1/3 of your life sleeping, so it is really important to have a healthy sleep schedule, and I guarantee you when you start having a healthy sleep schedule, your mental health will benefit so much from it. Now, the next thing we talked about was meaninglessness or lack of purpose. Let me break down a normal school day. We'll say you sleep for 8 hours, and then you do school for another 8 hours. That leaves you with 8 hours left in your day. 8 hours sleeping leaves you 16. 8 more hours leaves you with 8 hours of free time. We'll say you spend an hour and a half using the bathroom, an hour and a half eating and stuff, and then probably about an hour for in between getting ready for bed, going to bed, and driving. That leaves you with about 3 to 4 hours of free time. And most of the time, we spend that 3 to 4 hours just doing whatever we want and spending time on our phone, not doing anything productive. But if you just spend like 10 minutes researching that one hobby that you've been wanting to look into, or that one interesting topic that you found interesting that during English class a couple weeks ago, your mental health will benefit greatly from it. For example, if you say, oh, I've really been wanting to learn how to play an instrument. If you sit down at the computer and search for 10 minutes, what's the best way to start learning piano? I guarantee you will find enough information to start learning piano. If you have a piano in your house, then you're already one step ahead of everybody else. Now, besides finding something new to do. You also need to eat healthier. Not perfectly, you just need to eat better. If you cut soda, fast food, and energy drinks out, you will benefit greatly from it. It's hard to get into on such a short amount of time, but sodas and the manufactured sugars that are in them aren't good for your physical or mental health, because whenever your body is trying to get energy for doing something, it'll use the sugars that are in your body instead of using the carbs or the stored fat, which can lead to all sorts of problems that are not good for you. But overall, the culture that we live in does not take depression positively or in a good way, and overall it encourages it and leads it on, but you can take an active step to try and stop it in your life. Thank you.